Today we got my man Blake, my number one producer for the month of August last month. He's murdering it right now. Blake, thanks for coming on.
Yes, sir.
100%,
Absolutely.
100%.
Thanks for
So,
having me.
I guess we'll just kind of first start off on your backstory a little bit. Tell everyone, where you're from, what you were doing before this, and we'll kind of just start there.
Yeah, so from Oklahoma, currently live in Miami, Florida, and I've been in the car wash industry for about 10 years and was looking to get into something new and have followed Travis for a little bit, and that's kind of how I
Nice.
came into what we're
Oklahoma.
doing now.
We both went to Oklahoma State.
Yes, sir. Both went to Oklahoma State, have a bachelor's degree in entrepreneurship, kind of started my own businesses in the car wash space and then climbed the whole corporate ladder. And, my last job, I was the COO and had around 550 employees and was operating around a $50 million top line business. So had a lot of business experience, but was new
Yeah, dude. I
to
mean, you were
virtual
operating at
sales
like a
here.
very high level. I mean, a lot of people coming in, sometimes they're a little bit more younger people and they're coming out of just college, high school. They might have tried a few things like copywriting, SMMA, drop shipping, whatever the case might have been. But I mean, you're coming in as someone who's a top level person and you were already making like a very decent amount of money already before even just hopping into the space. So it's cool to see someone kind of just it's not like your
Yeah,
back was up against you might have gone through adversity in the past, but coming into this, your back was not up against the wall. You chose to get
correct.
into this sales.
Yeah, had time freedom and was kind of looking at, getting into something and had kind of dipped my toes in a few different arenas like most people kind of look what's going on, but it doesn't stick. And then with this, I was kind of just a lot of things aligned with, not only the scalability, but also the social media side of things. And then also, helping people at the end of the day was valuable to
100%,
me as how I was
100%.
going to
So
spend my time.
um, that kind of breaks down why you like considered to get into sales. What would you say getting in? What was your biggest struggle when you first got into sales in general?
So I would say not having the experience and kind of not knowing what was to come, that learning new things and then also just getting over the initial objections and kind of the humps of, whether it's dialing or knocking, it doesn't really matter what you're doing, just that initial threshold of, it's something new and getting through those initial steps, I think is hard for anybody. But I think most of the people that get through that and appreciate that process, they find success. It just sometimes it takes days or weeks or months or years, but if you continue
100%,
at it, you eventually
100%.
find it.
And then what was kind of like the turning point? Like, how did we first connect? How did you hear about the sales opportunity? What was kind of the thing that got you in?
Yeah, so what got me in was, I was kind of, my wife came to me and was like, you got to find something to do. You need to have something new to work on and, being a part of a team and a community. And I had followed several people like yourself on social media and kind of had an account for research and was doing a lot of, due diligence on insurance. And, what kind of caught me with you was you were really transparent of what you were doing and how you were sharing your growth, but also your switch and your change and why you were changing. And then you kind of ran an opportunity call online for people that were following you on Instagram. And I was like, this Travis guy, he's pretty authentic. He's hardworking. I align with him on some core values and some different things like workouts and faith. And I might as well figure out what he has going on while I'm
Yeah.
looking at some of these other companies as well. And
Yeah, I
it
remember
just
that. I
was the
remember
right place
posting
at the
that
right
story.
time.
There was like 30 some odd people that came on. I think you were the only person on that call that stuck it through and you're at the top now. So that's really sick.
Yep.
Cool. And then
Yeah.
how would you say
Yeah.
that like our trainings, systems, all that like made it easier for you when you first came in?
Yeah, so coming from no experience and having the first month that I did, it's also a testament of your leadership and kind of what you laid out. So I kind of break it down in a few things. With the training, not only was there a lot of opportunities of one-on-one time with you, showing up every day and having those gaps in your downtime of dialing or training or recruiting, it gave me time to connect with you on an individual basis, but also ask you a lot of those questions that I had kind of compiled while I was doing my own research or watching and training, and then just watching live. The transparency getting live feedback on my calls, whether it was what I was saying wrong or how I was saying it, and then really seeing you lead from the front. So, and then having the, the skills and the systems that you have, put in place, you were, able to build a team and still personally produce. So I think that's kind of a testament of what you have in place. And then as far as the systems, having a CRM, a dashboard, and other tools that kind of set me up for success, I think was very valuable. And then not only having a good script, but knowing how to say the script and when to use it and when to handle certain objections and when to lean in versus bow out. I thought that was super valuable. And I, probably more than others, really paid attention to how you said things versus what you were saying. And I think that's kind of what set me up for success for those first couple weeks while I waited to kind of get onboarded and through the process. I
Yeah.
was on there every day and was soaking up as much as I could. And I was paying attention, and not just to you, but to other people. And it was just a testament of the success was there was a community of people, and a community of closers is what I'd call it, of people that were taking it serious, and they weren't just on there to waste time and to chat, but were to make the most of it. And that transparency of no bait and switch, real sales with real results, that just was it just checked a lot of boxes for me as an individual. And then the communication that we have as a team, whether it's through the daily Zooms and the virtual office hours, or the group chats or the sales incentives you do for the team exclusively. Like that's a lot of the thing that
100%,
kind of
dude.
keeps
Super
people
well
wrapped
said.
in.
Super well said. Dope, dude. And I guess
Thanks.
since
Yeah.
you've kind of hopped on, what do you think your biggest mindset shift has been?
Just in volume, volume, and then quality, and then not misjudging a client or an opportunity at the face value of it, really just treating them all the same. I think that's what's super valuable because is you never know what's going to turn from it. My first week I kind of struggled, and then I really dug in and kept dialing and dialing, and then I had a great sale from just kind of putting in that extra work on a Saturday when most people kind of just take the day off. And that was one of the big turning moments from me. And then from that point, I had 21
Insane.
straight days with
21 days
sales
you made
and,
a sale every
did,
single day. That's
yeah,
I
did,
haven't even had a like that before.
yeah. And then there was 12 days where I did at least two sales a day. So I really just made it kind of a non-negotiable and, hit over 33,000 AP my first month and over 38 apps, and then was also able to bring in, I think I brought in close to 27 people now. Now, of course, some people are licensed, some people are going through contracting, some are active writers. So really seeing from you and the value of building a team and being able to hit 100K production the first month, I was like,
Yeah.
okay, Travis didn't do that by himself. I was a part of that. Other guys were a part of that, and seeing the value of the mentorship and the leadership and having all of the kind of the blueprint up front to be successful in sales, I think is what kind of collapses those timelines. And that was valuable to me of putting in that extra time, but also making the investment on the front side. I think is what kind of sets your
Yeah,
success
100%. And you're right,
apart
dude.
from
It was
others.
definitely not all me. I did not do it by myself. It's like for everyone out there building a sales team, it's like you really do have to just lead from the front. Like you're on all day, you're selling yourself, you're unmuted, you're just dialing in front of everyone, and everyone else just
It's just you're just
yeah,
raw
and
dogging it.
everyone catches
You're
on.
just keeping it raw. And
Oh,
you
for
didn't
sure.
have all good days. You have bad days too. You have slumps. You have peaks and valleys. But one of the things that really kind of set you apart from a lot of the other people was how you were treating people, how you were talking to clients, but also how we're booking calls and how we're setting appointments in the morning. So
Right.
many people have issues with leads. So many people have issues with getting people to show up. And in my first month, I had 131 sales appointments,
Dude,
109 people showed up, and I had
that's crazy.
83%
I didn't
sit
even know that.
ratio. Didn't have if I didn't have a quality process and good training and
Yeah.
leadership, that wouldn't have been possible. Because I still feel like I don't know what I'm doing, but I've just plugged in, and that's why I'm leading is because I'm just putting in the work every day with the right systems
Yeah,
and the
dude,
right
that's
people around me,
super.
like
That's
yourself.
insane, bro. 109 out of 131 showed up. 83% show up rate is I would say that like the average
Pretty good.
probably just for the industry that we're in, insurance is like It's sometimes like less than 50. Yeah, it's like 40 to 50 sometimes for show up rate. So dude, that's super good. Oh yeah, no,
And I didn't close them all.
right.
I got 38 apps. Some people got the pricing, some people objected at social, some people had issues with, their finances. But I did my job of just showing up and following what you told me to do. Now, did I follow everything you told me to do to a T? No, because I still have free will and we all still have our own creativity elements, but you have to follow the successful steps that you lay out. And when it comes to sales, like you don't want to spend months or years like trying to figure it out. Like you want someone that's been there and done that. That's like, hey, this is what works. Go do this, and if it doesn't work, like let's talk
Yeah,
about it. And I
that's
think that's
awesome,
really
dude.
what you provide.
Super cool. And then I guess just kind of diving into it. So what have the results been like so far? Like what is your let's just base it off of last month because we're, a little bit through September now, almost halfway. What did you so you wrote
Yep.
$35,000
Yep.
for the month of August, correct? So I'm not trying to like
Correct.
confuse
Yes, sir.
anyone. So
Just about.
writing $35,000 doesn't mean you made $35,000. So what did you profit after lead spend, after everything? What did you profit after what you wrote between, all the deposits that hit your account for the month of August?
Yeah, I would say around
18,000.
$18,000. I would say that's probably where, which isn't bad because I probably spent a little bit more on leads than I should
Right.
have because I was learning in the beginning, but I wasn't afraid to make that investment and then also having, some issue paid. I had a really good last part of the week, so some of those deposits really kind of rolled over. So it's kind of hard, kind of know like exactly how much you made because you have rolling deposits every day, which is an awesome thing to think about. And that's one of the another things that I really appreciate about this business is you're not waiting for a paycheck at the end of the month or the end of the week or the end of something like
Right.
you're just not waiting for it. It's just it comes once
Yeah.
once the carrier gets paid, you
But
get
dude, I
paid.
mean,
That's what I
18,000
love.
is pretty insane for your that was your real first full month. August was your real first full month.
Yeah, yeah. Like I literally got my good to go and my
Dude, that's
carriers the last
crazy,
part
bro.
of July, and I just started running and just really just bought into the systems and went to like daily training and knew that I had to be a student, but also I had to take the action. So that's the difference is I didn't get like stuck just like analyzing what I needed to do. I was like, hey, what is Travis doing? Travis is on the phones. Travis is making action. He's taking action and he's doing it every single day, and that's why you get to a different place is because
Right.
you just simply put in more work, and then you're not just putting in dumb work, you're putting in smart work, so you're able to evolve much quicker or much faster than other people are because you have a system that you're repeating versus just
Yeah, and that's
blindly
the most
going about it
beautiful thing about
you
sales,
know
bro. Like, I mean, obviously, like I've done copywriting, I've done fitness coaching, I've done door-to-door sales. I've tried out a few things. Yeah, all kinds of fun
personal
stuff. And then
brand, all
even like
kinds
when
of
I was
fun stuff
16, like my first job was working at Cane's, and then I got a restaurant job after that as like a server,
yeah
food runner, all that stuff. But the things about the Cane's and they were high school jobs, but like point is that I still always was the hardest worker. I've always been a very driven guy, so I was still working extremely hard in those places, but like I would still get paid the same as much as the guy that was just on his phone in the back.
exactly.
Right.
So you're
And
like, what's the point when you're doing that? But you
yeah,
knew it
no,
was for
100%.
something
And
greater down the
that's
road.
like keeping like a person caged almost. Like, it's just like you have all this like potential in you. You know you could be doing better, but you're just holding yourself back. And that's exactly how I
100.
felt. And that's why sales is just such a beautiful thing to get into because you're going to get rewarded for how much you put in, like every single time. If you put in a bunch of work, you were
Yeah.
going to get a bunch back
Well,
out of it. And it's just such a cool thing.
Well, being a little bit of an older guy here, Travis, like I've had so many things not work out, not because of my hard work, but because of other people. Whether it was a job that had limitations, or a partner that said they were going to do something and did something else, or the market had a different turn and something changed. In sales, you get to dictate your future and your outcome because what you put into it, you get out of it. If you're in a good system and there's tons of great opportunities, there's people that crush it in solar, insurance, finance, trading, brand scaling. It doesn't matter what you do, but you have to have the right mindset and the right system going into it because you'll waste so much time if you don't. Now you'll still maybe get there because a lot of people do, but why take 5, 10 years what you could do in
Right.
6 months? That's what I'm interested in. I like collapsing timelines and making that money, that same amount of money in a short amount of time, because then what can you do with that money once you've accumulated it?
Yeah.
You don't know because you haven't done it yet. And that's why people get into sales, is because they want limitless potential. That's what I'm interested in, is something that I can continue to put myself into, but there's also a scalability with building a
Yeah.
team, building personal development skills and soft skills and professional skills. Like, you don't know what you're going to build through the process of doing the same thing over
Yeah.
and over again and
I heard
getting
like
better
Spencer
at it.
Kozak say this one time, like there really is no ceiling at all in the sense that like I mean technically if you could somehow figure out how to like bring $40,000 or 40,000 people like beneath you, you could be making like Elon Musk money if they were all selling like regular policy like a regular amount of policies each month. Like it's great. Like there actually is no ceiling.
Yeah.
It's just depending on like
I,
your mind and how it figures it out and how hard you work. And that's just like so like freeing to me. Like there's I love nothing more than that. I would even if my cap was like, you know, like 500,000 $1 million a year plus, it's still like I mean that's great money. I'm not trying to say that it's not, but it wouldn't like sit as right with me as sales does, knowing that like, hey, I could make more than 500,000 a year. I could make more than a million a year, even if it's not guaranteed. Exactly,
yeah, you might
exactly.
make that a
Even if it's not
month.
guaranteed, it's such
You
a
never
better
know.
feeling.
Yeah,
So that's awesome,
exactly.
dude. And everything you've been saying is
Yep.
super, super well said. Um, I guess just to kind of wrap it up, where do you see yourself in the next 12 months? Going at the rate that you are, you made 18 grand in your first month profit, which is insane. Best on the team by far. Where do you see yourself in the next 12 months?
I would say at least 1.5 million to
That's
$2
fire.
million dollar
And I
agency a
could
month.
1,000,000% see you doing it. And on,
At least trying to just onboard 50 to 100 people a month. You find a couple quality people every month. You continue to build the skills, and it's only a matter of time before you're there. The people that were following their footsteps, they did it, and it took them longer, but they didn't
100,
have what we have present day. They
100%.
didn't have us,
And
you know.
what advice would you give to someone who's watching right now? Let's just say maybe they've been in ecom, they've been in like copywriting, social media, maybe they just got out of college, high school, whatever, and they're on the fence about getting into sales and they just don't know what to get, even if it's like door to door, whatever, just sales in general. Like they're just on the fence. They're just not almost 100% comfortable or bought into the idea of being on 100% commission and eating what you kill. What would you say to that person?
Make as much strategic reps as you possibly can. Like it's a volume game. The more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. Now, don't go about it blindlessly and do the same thing over and over again and never make efficiencies or changes. But the longer you do something and the more you have that type of intentional focus on it, it's only a matter of time before you're the best at it. Like the whole 10,000 hours, that philosophy is true, but who says that you can't get to
Yeah,
that level way sooner? And that's my whole mentality, is like, it's just how good were those first 1,000 hours? Were they just like, were you half interested, or were they 1,000 intentional hours? Because that's a way different level
100%.
of output. And so my whole biggest advice would just do more and do it quicker. And surround yourself with the right people, because if you're around people that don't have the same type of goals or don't want to go to a higher place in their life, then you're never ever going to get to where you want to get. Even if you think you got it, it's really difficult when you're only around the wrong people. Now, of course, you can be the anomaly, you can be the change. All of that is great, but having people around you that can hold you accountable to where you want to go is a game changer. So having a strong community, a mentor, a system that works, like that's what will
One
set
million
you
percent,
apart from
dude.
other people in the field.
Everything perfectly said. Well, dude, I appreciate you for coming on. We'll wrap it up here. And from there, I guess we'll just see you guys in the next one. Proud of you, Blake. You've been murdering it, dude. Yes, sir.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate you.